Withlacoochee River Electric Cooperative. Member-owned, community-focused.
Hello and welcome to the Turkey Man Show. I'm Kevin Vaughn, or better known here at WREC as the Turkey Man. I'm a long-time Withlacoochee lineman. Today I'm sitting down and speaking with Brian Allen, Virgil Cook, Brett Towns, Cole Morgan, and Mike Milnarski, 5 of my fellow linemen, about WREC's recent trip to the Navajo Nation, where WREC took part in the Light Up Navajo Initiative. Welcome to the Turkey Man Show, gentlemen.
Hey, good to be here today.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, so we got everybody introduced, and so I'm going to ask the question, what motivated you to join the effort to bring electricity to the Navajo Nation?
Well, when you hear about American citizens out there in American soil that don't have the basic utilities that we have everywhere throughout the country, and we have the opportunity to go take care of that, then you have the skill set, you just go. It's not really a question you ask yourself too much about why. Right. You have it, so you go and you go do it.
It's good. Yeah, that's the same way I felt. I mean, we've got, Americans in our own country that still don't have electricity. Prior to the first Navajo trip, I couldn't even believe that. I wasn't even aware of that fact.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that there's still people, in the United States that are still living without power. I never would have thought, it was definitely pretty cool to get to go out there and go help some people, get something, basic necessities that we're used to having, and they don't have none of that.
That's true. You would think that being First Nations, you'd think they'd have it first, but that's definitely not the case. So can you describe a moment during the project that really moved you or stuck with you? Any personal stories?
I just think it was pretty cool, on that one long job that we had where the digging was real tough and we were losing pressure diggers and all that kind of stuff. But just pretty cool to, think that half a mile away, or there Monument Valley, we're getting to work and build power lines where they film the one scene in Forrest Gump,
Right.
That's something, you get. I'll watch that movie one day and sit back and look. Yeah, I'll just build power lines right there, right next to that. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool, all while, like you said, getting to help bring some power to some family out there. Otherwise, wouldn't happen.
It's definitely beautiful. Yeah, country has got its own beauty. I mean, it's remote in places, definitely remote, but it's got its own beauty for sure.
Just getting to build line, like we built a tap to a 90-year-old lady, and at the end of it, she came out and was thanking us, and she said it was going to bring light to her, not only herself, but her family as well. And she was hoping that would bring her kids and her grandkids back. I mean, I couldn't imagine, not being around my family. And if that can bring her family back to her, I mean, what more can you really ask for?
Well, that's part of the reason we're out there, was to, bring electricity to those that have never had it. I mean, it's one thing, and I mentioned this before, it's one thing to be out a couple weeks for a hurricane.
Yeah.
And we all know what that's like as linemen. But for them to never have had it, and like you said, Cole, a 90-year-old woman still waiting for electricity for her and her family is pretty amazing in this country that it's even that way,
Well, she had said that she was living in town because of her age, and now that the lights had come on, she can finally go back to where she'd grown up as a kid, and that's where she wanted to be, not in town, but in where she'd grown up. So that just in and of itself was worth it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's their home.
Yeah.
I mean, they feel,
I think wasn't there the last guy that we heated up, it was, he was 84 or something like that, never had power. And he was still living out there.
I go back to that same thing. I mean, we have people, they're glad to have their lights on after a week or 7 days or 10 days of being out of power from a hurricane. But he's lived 84 years and never had electricity. That is astounding to me, And that was one of the motivations on the first trip for myself, was to be able to go out there to bring power to those families, What are some of the biggest challenges you faced while working in such remote areas? I know you alluded to the digging. Well, we had some tough terrain that we were working in also.
Well, one thing with that was just if, a truck did break down, just trying to get a mechanic out there to us in a timely manner to not only fix it, but just bring any kind of parts or hydraulic oil and all
It's
that.
like they go out there, they look at it. All right, we need this, so it's another 2 hours back just to get the part, come back 2 more hours. You're wasting a whole day.
And the truck was probably stuck where it was broke down at too.
Yeah.
Driving and all that. So you're saying.
Just the amount of auger teeth that we go through punching a couple holes was insane to me. I mean,
Exactly.
I made a comment when we were out there. I would never complain about drilling through our rock back here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think 30, 40 minutes on a hole here is long. Out there, all day long on one hole is...
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, the trash bags that we use or hang off the back of our trucks will have new teeth in them, and they'll be knocking them out on one hole. They'll go through a whole bag of teeth on one hole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, the conditions is definitely different, especially, and a lot of it doesn't look like it's going to be that bad. It looks sandy when you start, but before you can get a 7-foot hole dug, it's an all-day ordeal.
It's so beautiful. You don't really expect there to be a ton of challenges. You see the sand, you're like, oh, this will be easy. But you get 2 feet down and
Right.
it changes.
Once you dug on it a couple of days, you understand why it takes so long, and
Yes.
it's so resource intensive to build what's there. And it all kind of makes sense after you've been there for a little bit. It's real easy to judge at first. They take, X amount of time to build line that doesn't take us
Right.
hardly anything long to do. But, out there, they just
Right,
the
and the
challenges we
specs-
can't understand.
Yeah,
unless
the
you
specs
stay
are
there.
very strict. I know when they GPS those pole locations, and they don't vary from it.
They're dead on.
We can kind of get away with that a little bit. But they're very strict about that. And but I mean, when they get done, they got a beautiful line for sure. They build some of the best, prettiest lines I've ever seen out there. So they're held to a pretty high standard, but the conditions are just not only that, the wind. I don't know if you guys experience any wind
Yeah,
out
it was
there.
windy.
Yeah.
Very dry.
It's almost like talc powder. The sand is just
Very
very
fine.
fine. It goes right through your face coverings and through your clothes and everything else. But
And you're beating it off as you get back to the hotel. It's just dust coming off of you.
right, even though it's challenging, though, it's still satisfying to finally get that hole dug and get the line built. So how did the local families react when they saw electricity in their homes for the first time?
For the most part, they were very grateful. The one lady, she was crying, talking about how she's going to bring her family back.
Right.
So for the most part, they were very grateful.
Well, I know we've, just little things like refrigerator. I know some of the families that I talk to, just having an ice cream. If you're living out of a cooler, that perishable stuff doesn't last very long.
Mhm.
So, they're able to get food that is not in a can anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot to people. So.
One gentleman was just excited to actually make a pot of coffee.
Right.
That was kind of cool.
It's amazing just the little simple things that we take for
Mhm.
granted. I mean, a coffee and ice cream, just a lamp an electric lamp, where the kids can do their homework without having to burn a lantern. I mean, it's, what I'm saying, we take a lot of little things for granted.
Absolutely.
How about hot water?
Yeah. Well, just there was the one house that we did. They had an outhouse still. It looked like a normal sized trailer, and they still had an outhouse. So I could just imagine, in the middle of the night or when it's cold out, have to track out to go to use the bathroom.
Right.
It's it's crazy.
Yeah, they live without conveniences that for the rest of us that don't live there are kind of invisible to us, really. We're so
Right.
used to it that that's where I experienced it, seeing the folks. Kind of hard to explain, but they just understand that they're now stepping into things that we just straight up take for granted.
Even the solar situation out there is very limited.
Yeah, the one couple that had solar, she was explaining how she had to strategize how to either cook or you'd have to turn this off to use this, and she had a young boy that loved to play video games, and she would have to kick him off because she was going to use the crock pot or something along those lines to
They
cook
had
dinner.
to choose between cooking or the television
Yeah.
for the evening.
Yeah,
So still limited.
Yeah.
The reliable electricity is definitely helping those families.
Well, one family, they had if they wanted to stay in the living room, they'd have to use a window shaker unit for the living room. But when it was time to go to bed, they'd have to turn the living room shaker unit off to go to the bedroom and turn that on.
Right.
Like, we take that for granted. Our whole house is the same temperature.
Sure.
And now you've got to go to a different room that could be hot or cold, and you've got to wait a little bit for it to. I mean, it's just another thing that we take for granted.
And I guarantee you, it gets hot out there.
Yes, it does.
and cold all on the same day.
All in the same. Yeah, I want to say for the amount of time that we were there, it went as low as like in the 40s to the upper 80s, almost 90s.
Right.
I'm not sure if it hit 100 or anything out there while we were out there, but yeah, definitely one extreme to another.
Now, were you guys having to travel as far? I mean, we were staying in the Window Rock, Arizona area and then traveling for 2 hours just to get to work.
Yeah, we had a couple of hour and a half hikes for sure.
And some of the travel conditions were pretty extreme because you think of a paved road here and locally in Florida, or even a dirt road, and you think that you've experienced a rough road. Then you drive out there and everything is milled rock.
Yeah.
And you're going across creek beds. Yep. And you're going across this terrain that it's not anything like here. It beats you to death. It beats your vehicles to death, and
just their challenges.
And you may think you're driving 20 miles is going to take a few minutes, but it's at 20 minutes take you an hour to get there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It seemed like we were on the pavement for about 10 minutes, and then we were off the pavement for about an hour. But it was all worth it.
It was crazy how they tell you, all right, we'll go down 10 miles, make a left, go 5 miles. Well, that 10 miles was quicker than the 5 miles because 5 miles was on a rough.
Yeah, there's
rough
no
road.
addresses to plug into your phone either on your GPS. They're going off GPS coordinates and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole different aspect. I mean, it's learning how to get from one point to the next. Definitely challenges that we don't face here, every day. But what kind of impact do you think this project will have on the community long term?
I think it'll bring a lot of people back home where they want to be. That's the hope.
To also give them something to do in those rural areas that they could maybe work remote for some of those work at home type jobs where they can actually stay in their area and make a decent living. Sure. And not have to try to commute to those rugged terrains and beat their vehicles up and all that. And they're going to save a lot of money and fuel, and just not have to buy gas for generators, not have to drive to go get the gas. Most of them don't have water. They have to go bring their own water in, so they're going to save time and money. And they possibly put a well down now. They don't have to go out and try to go get water a couple times a week, and
good luck putting that well down.
Yeah, that's another challenge. You're talking about wells, but even with the electricity, they still may have to bring the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different way of living out there for sure.
But it's definitely going to make it easier because now they can store stuff. They can have a refrigerator, so they don't have to go up to town to buy groceries every, however often.
And we definitely have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It certainly brings different perspective on how we live, how we take things for granted, and for sure. So, I mean, how has this experience changed your perspective, either personally or professionally?
I would just say, just like, you get caught up in the same old driving back and forth, the same roads every day to go to work, and same old traffic, same everything, and just to go out west and see something different, just, the challenges, like I said, just to get to a job site, and how to just change your whole outlook on everything,
I know definitely like traveling, like over there to go anywhere, it's a minimum an hour, 2 hours, if you had to go to the store or whatever, for these folks. So like back home, I used to hate to go from my house to like Wesley Chapel, say we need to go, shopping for some sort. But now it just seems, all right, that's not that bad, 40 minutes isn't too bad.
So when we were in out there close to New Mexico, we're in New Mexico actually, the closest Walmart was a 7-8 hour drive.
Oh, wow.
So think about that.
Yeah, there's not one Walmart on the entire reservation.
Yeah. It's right. The closest thing was like the closest Walmart or anything that size was close to 7-8 hour drive.
It's almost like their one district is like all of the districts combined at Withlacoochee. You know, like if you were in Trilby and you had to go, you know, all the way to Bandit Point because there was a call there, that's the kind of distance that they would have to drive on a regular basis. You know, it was nothing for them to drive 2-3 hours to a call and then find the problem, and then now you gotta, you know, you need a new transformer or whatever it is. So it's going to be another 2 to 3 hours before someone gets out there.
Well, I guess that's why we carry ours on our trucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a different demographic. I mean, the travel times are definitely not as long here as what they have to deal with on a daily basis. So it sounds like we had some of the same experiences the first trip, the second trip.
I'd like to say, you know, give thanks to y'all, the first crews that went out there. Y'all were kind of the guinea pigs for us, you know. Y'all got to give us some pointers on, you know, stuff to, what to expect and what to bring out there, you know. I guess y'all didn't get as many trucks when y'all went out there, but.
No, we were, I think we had one regular digger, which was a sand digger, didn't even have a rock auger on it. And we had one pressure digger, which was a rock auger. And one squirt boom, and everything else was done by climbing.
Yeah, we weren't expecting to have really any trucks when we got out there, and I think we ended up with 9 or 10 different trucks.
Each group had like 2 buckets and a digger.
Yeah, right. Definitely having the equipment helps. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our job ended up. We did a few taps, ended up being more of that mountainside challenge. You know, I think you guys definitely got more taps built and more consumers on in the second trip, which was awesome. But it's just a difference of the terrain and the area that you guys were in versus, you know, the first trip.
Every day was different terrain-wise. You could be in the mountains one day, the next day you're in the desert. It depended on where the job was at.
Well, I know we would be in the 20s in the morning. By the time we drove to where we were working, it'd be 70s.
Yeah.
We'd do a tailgate, get up in the mountain, and be snowing on us. So, I mean, it would change
we didn't have any
3 or 4
of that.
times in a day, you know, for us. So definitely different weather patterns. Each trip can be different.
I think one of the striking things for me for our weather, I mean, we were out there building a tap, and here comes the rain. And before we started that day, it was dry. There was dust blowing everywhere. It rained pretty good amount. And before we left there, it was dry and dust blowing everywhere again.
Yeah.
And like, how is this possible?
It soaks it right up, yeah.
I'm wet on one side and burning up on the other side. And I don't know how that worked out, but it was definitely an experience.
Appreciate you guys sharing your stories, and it's exciting to hear, you know, what the other crews experienced in 2 different trips. So I'm sure that Withlacoochee will be sending another crew out there again. I think that project is a 50-year project. There's plenty of time for people to get out there and make a difference on the Navajo Nation. And I know it changed me, my perspective, and I gained respect for those people. They're hardy, they're proud of who they are, and they're definitely tough, some of the conditions they live in. So we hope that bringing electricity out there brings maybe a little bit of relief for some of the tough conditions they have to live in. So I'd like to thank you all for being here, and appreciate you being on the Turkey Man Show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone for listening to the Turkey Man Show.
Withlacoochee River Electric Cooperative. Member owned, community focused.